Hello YouTube, Myron Golden here, and I know you like this part of this video series, but you're gonna love the entire thing. I invite you to go back and watch the entire thing in sequential order. So if you're jumping in the middle somewhere, go back, watch the first video, then the second, then the third. Watch these videos in sequential order. They will bless you beyond measure.
Okay, so academic intelligence is known to give you an advantage in business. The second one is emotional intelligence. So this gives you an advantage in business because success, is a jagged line. It's not a straight line, okay? You are sometimes going to take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, all right? Any person that's honest about their success journey will say that they've had their share of disappointments, frustrations, letdowns, setbacks. They've had, people sabotage, reject, oppose. They've had to deal with criticism. They've had to deal with allegation. They've had to deal with issues that would typically talk the average person out of continuing in business, right? So people quit sometimes because they're not emotionally intelligent enough to get back up and to keep going. I think it's Winston Churchill who said that success comes to the people who are able to fail over and over again without losing their enthusiasm. All right? And that ability is an intelligence. It's an emotional intelligence where you are aware of how you're feeling. You are aware of the state or the mood that you are in, and you're able to think about your thoughts as an objective observer. And you're able to say, actually, that mood is not good. It's not productive. It's not empowering. It's not helpful. And you're able to further say to yourself, actually, you need to change that state before you get on that stage. And then, of course, there are other skills that come out of that in terms of your ability to coach others emotionally and to get them in the right mood and frame of mind. So academic intelligence will give you an advantage. Emotional intelligence will give you an advantage. How many of you agree with that, by the way? Yeah? Okay, so here's the third one, and it's called relational or social intelligence. So these are the people, according to Dale Carnegie, who can win friends and influence people. No one will go along with you if they cannot get along with you. All right? So this is about developing an attractive and magnetic personality so that your personal brand is magnetic and you're the kind of person that people want to know. And there are some skills that go with that emanate from that intelligence, such as creating rapid rapport. There are certain people who create rapport with you very, very quickly. Isn't that right? Now, when I say certain people, I think there's a living model in this room of what I call relational intelligence. And he's sitting over yonder, okay? It's impossible to not like this person. Isn't that right? Now I'm speaking of the one Myron Golden. It's impossible to not like him. He's magnetic, he's charismatic, he has charm, and he knows how to very quickly lower your defenses, let you know that you're safe. Isn't that right? But a lot of this is skill that you develop, sometimes unconsciously, over a period of time. But what is clear is that if you are relationally intelligent, that will give you an advantage in business, because ultimately all business is about people. Isn't that right? You're not in business if you're not, people say, I'm not a people person. Well, you're definitely not an entrepreneur either. Okay? Because that's what we do. We service people. We identify their needs, their problems, their aspirations, their issues, and we service them. And so relational intelligence is very, very important. However, there is a root intelligence, okay? A root intelligence. What I sometimes think of as the forgotten intelligence. And it's not that it's been forgotten, it has been omitted. All right? There's a difference between being uneducated and being miseducated. All right? If you're uneducated, you're ignorant of a truth or a fact or a body of information. But if you are miseducated, you've been deliberately misled, and truths have been hidden from you or obscured, or you have been forced to focus on something in an attempt to hide something else. And so perhaps my best-selling book of all time is a book called The Miseducation of the Masses, right? Forward by Les Brown. And, I was inspired to write that book after reading The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson, who made an observation about how emancipated Negroes were educated after the Civil War. And he noted that they were taught lots of interesting things, but they were not taught anything that would empower them to become owners, to become independent, to become wealthy, and that these subjects were somehow missing from the curriculum. I looked at our modern education system. I looked at its roots, like how compulsory state education came into being, and I found out that actually it was initially an instrument for social control. It was a weapon of mass instruction. It was initially modeled in what was Prussia by King Wilhelm Frederick, who had suffered huge losses in the Napoleonic Wars, so that his army was depleted. And he thought, well, how am I going to control my population with a depleted army? He said, here's what we do. We take all the children and make them compulsory attend our schools. And we'll teach them unwavering loyalty and obedience to the king. Okay? Which was the objective in education, was obedience. Think about it. You were not rewarded or punished for your intelligence. You were rewarded or punished for your obedience. And then in the Industrial Revolution, the model was incorporated into the United Kingdom and into the U.S. And the objective was to generate voluntary slaves. Oh, help me now. Which is why the school mirrored the factory floor. The bell was already in the factory. All right? And so the idea was that the school would be a factory that would mass produce workers who would work for a basic living. The idea was the mass production of workers. It was not the empowerment of children or of a generation. It was the mass production of a workforce. So the point and the prize in education was that you got a good job. And you were told that if you don't do well here, you won't get a good job. And therefore you won't survive. The implication was you cannot survive without a job. Right? And think about it. I didn't think I was going to go here tonight, but think about it. What profession in life, anywhere, requires you to have the ability to concentrate on maths for 30 minutes? Then forget it and concentrate on English for 30 minutes. Then forget it and concentrate on geography for 30 minutes. Then forget it and concentrate on physics for 30 minutes. Then forget it and concentrate on a foreign language for 30 minutes. That is called brainwashing. Because there is no profession that will require that ability. Yeah, I'm in trouble. But I tend to be quite comfortable in that space. So the secular sciences don't even acknowledge the root intelligence. And the reason they don't acknowledge the root intelligence is they don't believe in the trichotomy of a human being. That a human being is three parts: spirit, soul, and body. They think about the body and the soul. but I'm going to take you on a journey and explain the difference between spirit, soul, and body. Because a lot of what we are doing is emanating from the soulish realm and omitting where your true intelligence lies.